Hey my friends, so I'm making this video uh, at the risk of seeming like some sort of conspiracy theorist or crazy person, but I've been noticing something and it's making me want to take action, and I just wanted to share it with you guys because I just find it kind of disturbing. So I guess as you guys have uh, known, if you're following my channel, I've been talking to you guys about the different um, journals that I've created, that I attach to all my videos: the gratitude journal, the diary, the dream journal, stuff like that. So I've been doing a little bit more writing, you know, on a daily basis, and a little less time kind of surfing the internet. Of course, as always, there's a plane going overhead. That's the price of living near the Burbank airport. Anyway, so I've just been noticing something because everybody in this country, I'm sure, on some level, has been stressed out by all the things going on in the country with Trump and the National Guard going into all these different cities. I feel like the amount of stress level that everyone's going through and the amount of division that is taking place, you know, is almost more intense than it normally has been. And I I want to say that things have become really noticeable um, with the death of Charlie Kirk. Now, just to set the record straight, I am no fan of anything that Charlie Kirk had said. I found a lot of what he said to be as divisive as the things that I'm going to be talking about. But that doesn't mean that I wanted to see him die or get, killed or take any joy from his death, because I don't. I feel terrible for his family and his wife and his children. I don't know them, but the idea of losing a loved one in that way, and the fact that we as a country or a world literally have been shown the video of his being shot in the head. I didn't even want to see it, but I was watching something and all of a sudden it was there, and I'm like, oh my God, there's something going on. And I'm noticing it on the internet, and I don't know where it's coming from. It may be what they talk about, the kind of Russian disinformation or whatever attack that is going on in this country, but I've just been noticing it. And I think I'm noticing it because I've been kind of stepping away from viewing and doing a little bit more, spending a little bit more time just with my own thoughts about things and writing things down, and noticing just how sad and depressed I've been. Now, truth be told, I have plenty to be stressed about in my life right now. I'm gonna just keep talking because the planes are gonna go until I think they are required to shut down at 10 o'clock at Burbank, but it feels like it goes on 24/7. Anyway, so getting back to what I'm talking about, I've just been noticing, one, I've been stressed out about a lot of things, and just, I'll be honest, full disclosure, this has not been a great period of my life. I am looking for a job, and that has been just this tremendous struggle applying places online, and I was able to get good news, an interview today, and I'll find out next week. I have no idea whether I'll get the job or not. If I do, I'll be grateful for it. I'll be chanting like crazy between now and then for that. But I don't know. And in addition to that, in the last few months, from now, since August to now, I've lost 5 people that I've known in my life. And it's felt like one after the other has just been dying for varying reasons. Nothing like any kind of shooting thing, but just life happening and people passing away. But it's taken a toll, and it's had me much more reflective, and have been writing about things, getting my feelings out, and noticing just the degree of sadness and anger that I've been carrying, which is why I recommend to anybody, get back into having a diary or journaling and just getting your thoughts out on paper, because there is something about writing out how you're feeling that has helped me just be able to deal with all these emotional things going on in my life. But okay, to get to the point of making this video, I have noticed, because I don't watch as much TV as I do watch, things through YouTube or with the Fire TV. I watch YouTube, Netflix, stuff like that, and a lot of YouTube. And admittedly, I've watched a number of, Karen videos that, I had to kind of pull back from that, because I realized whatever the algorithm is once you start watching something, more and more of that stuff comes at you. So I feel like I've just gotten a ton of videos of Karens, and even with that, at first it was all talk, these videos about, a Karen here or there, showing their racism and all this other stuff. And I've noticed even with those, that those videos have kind of turned into videos about Karens getting their just desserts and getting punched out, and it's like those videos as well. I mean, they were just kind of mean and nasty in themselves, watching these people in these videos just say nasty things to each other, and you're like, okay, well, you're listening to somebody actually say these heinous things about another person. But a lot of the videos that are posted with these kind of titles that are kind of like encouraging anger and division, saying, oh, this Karen getting her just desserts or getting punched out, and it's all this kind of promotion of violence. So I've really just, I'm trying to pull back from those, even though it's like, that's one of those things where you're watching something and it just, it kind of feeds to people's darkest natures, watching these things of people arguing and division. But I've just noticed those titles have gotten just more divisive, that you're like, oh my God. And I've stopped watching them for the most part, just because I've noticed them saying these things about, these Karens getting punched out, and these pictures of these women getting, knocked out, and it's just kind of creepy. But that was kind of the start of it. Then I noticed, just watching different YouTube clips, that there's like a ton of these videos coming out where it's some older parent who has their adult children turning on them. And it's either a mother or a father. A lot of times it's the mother whose husband has passed away, and suddenly their child, who has a spouse who is just vindictive and trying to get their money and excluding them from like a wedding, even though they helped pay for the kids, wedding, and then you see the video. It's like a story of how the parent teaches their kid a lesson. And I saw one once, and at first I thought it was real. And then I noticed afterwards, I started getting all of these different videos of a brother being excluded from something after they spent all this money helping out a sibling, and then suddenly they turn on them. Or it's usually a parent, mother or father, who turns the tables on their child, who is just so self-centered that they become cruel to their parents and are like, it's like they're really, it's like elder abuse. And I noticed that they're all kind of in story. It's not like you're seeing the actual person talking about what's happened to them. It's more like you see a picture of somebody, and then it's a story, you know, that really doesn't show people interacting. So it feels more like it's fiction than it is actually happening, because I started seeing so many of these videos that I'm like, how could we suddenly be having this wave of children treating their parents like crap? And I'm sure it happens. And you see that because if you look at the comments, a lot of the comments are people responding, saying, oh yeah, it's kind of, you know, supporting the parent and kind of saying, you know, this, something like this happened to me. I don't know if those are real or not, but I could see how they are playing to people's emotions. And this may have happened to some people, but the amount of people suddenly making all of these videos about it seems just a little manipulative. So it's just had me questioning, why is this coming out? Why are there so many of these videos that are kind of sowing seeds of division between family members, you know, in our society? And then I noticed another similar trend, and it's these videos where there's a celebrity going on a talk show, and how they're, you know, one was on the Randy guy who makes all those kind of musical spoofs. He was supposedly upset by something that Kelly Clarkson said on her show to him and he walked off, you know, the stage. Now, if you actually saw clips of him on the Kelly Clarkson show having that, you know, argument or getting upset and seeing him walk off, then I would say, okay, yeah. But you don't see that. You just see a still picture of when he was on the show, or he's on the couch talking with someone. It looks like Kelly Clarkson from behind, but you don't hear their voices. You just hear this generated voice explaining how Kelly Clarkson, who seems like a really nice person, attacking him and him getting defensive and standing up for himself. And it's this whole kind of spiel about how, you know, he walks off the set because he's insulted by something she said. And I thought, okay, this is just, it just didn't feel right. And then today I saw another video. I didn't watch it. I just saw the clip come up on my channel, probably because I watched the Kelly Clarkson and, you know, Randy guy video, because I was like, what is that about? But it was one where it said Michael Strahan said something to Denzel Washington about people not liking him or something, and it somehow offended Denzel Washington and he walked off. And I saw it and I thought, Denzel Washington is going to storm off and Michael Strahan is going to insult Denzel Washington on Good Morning America. It just sounded fishy. So I didn't watch it because I didn't want to kind of promote it. And then there was another video where it was, I don't know, it's this, I'm bad with names, but it's a country western star that was famous from The Voice, who I think is engaged or married to Gwen Stefani. I can't remember his name. He's a funny guy, and he's a country western singer, but he's like the guy on The Voice. And apparently, there's another video where he was confronting Joy Behar from The View about something. And it just, seeing that, it was like one after the other, there are these videos where I feel like someone or some group of people, which has made me think, the whole Russian thing, because that apparently is a thing where they're creating videos of disinformation, whatever it is, out there. I'm not saying this is Trump. I'm not saying this is right, left, or American thing. I'm saying there's something out there that, or some group of people, or it's just people who have noticed that selling division. All right, sorry about that. I am back. Now, I could have just played around and pretended like Big Brother was listening and cut off my video feed, but in actuality, I haven't cleared out my memory, so I had a lot of videos taking up storage space, and I just ran out of storage space, so I had to stop my rant to clear out some space so I can keep going. So, again, I'm no big conspiracy theorist, other than these planes coming in to interrupt my feed every time I try and make a video. But aside from that, no conspiracy, I just ran out of video. But it gets me to just wrap up this video. And the reason I'm making it is because I just want to encourage people to really start thinking about their video consumption, how much time they spend watching streaming stuff and watching videos from different people that may be manipulating us. Because I will say, with one of those videos that I was talking about, I think it was either the one on Randy or one of the ones about Denzel or Joy Behar, one of those divisive ones. I clicked on it and it had, I think it was saying something like AI generated. So that really kind of just solidified it for me that there are people out there, whoever they are. I don't want to guess whether they're Russians or political people on one side or the other, making these videos, but I really just feel like there's something going on where people are finding value in creating videos that are stoking division in our country. And I just felt the need to say something. One, because I was just watching this video by Lee Harris, who I have talked about a few times on this channel, who is a channeler, and he has a video out. His website is Lee Channel Energy, and he was and the title of his video was about love dissolving division. And he was kind of talking about the need for us to focus on loving one another, on kind of focusing on love in our life and kind of projecting love in our relationships and not giving into the divisiveness and the division that is intentionally being stoked by various people who we may know or not know about. I do believe, and I will say this, I do believe that that is something that Trump is doing. I've always felt that from the very beginning, that he's been gaslighting us to, one, distrust media in general, and when you call media the enemy of the state and during your first term so many times and people start to pick up on it, it's a sad reflection on us as a society that we can kind of be, I don't want to say brainwashed, but we can be easily conned. And in my opinion, our current president is a con man. I mean, I live in Los Angeles, and I know when they had the National Guard out here, I went down and I made a video when I saw him on the news talking about Los Angeles is like a war zone. And I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? So I went down to the federal building, and there was a lot of graffiti all over the place, and you could see, I'm sure there was violence. I think there was like one car that was burned, but you saw it so many times on the news that it seemed like there were just tons of cars on fire, and I think it was like one. And all of the rioting that they talked about took place in like 1-2 block area of the downtown LA area, which is in no way residential. That was where the federal building is, and different kind of warehouses, and I don't know, there may be some apartments, but I didn't see it. But it made me think, if you don't live in Los Angeles and you're hearing LA is like a war zone, and you're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, or you're somewhere in the Midwest, you're gonna think, oh my God, the president is saying that, you know, it's a war zone in Los Angeles. But the reality of here is that nothing was happening. There was a protest that may have gotten out of control, but a lot of it is stoked by ICE people wearing masks, going around grabbing people off the street. That has gotten people scared and nervous, and rightfully so. But I feel like he's gaslighting us with sending the National Guard into Chicago, DC, trying to say that Portland is a war zone. Give me a break. Because I'm here in Los Angeles and was here when he was saying that about us here, I know it's BS. But he is pushing out stuff. And if you'll notice, he was saying, oh, I think, you know, people are kind of saying, hey, maybe I'd like a dictator. Who in their right mind is going to say, yeah, having a dictator sounds like a great idea because he's lowering crime? What crime is being lowered by the National Guard coming in to protect ICE, who are stoking fear and shooting pepper balls at ministers and knocking women and old people down? I'm seeing those videos. I'm not seeing the, you know, Antifa. I don't even know what the hell Antifa is. Maybe they're an organization, maybe not. I've never seen them. I have seen the Proud Boys on the January 6th. I have seen videos of people going and infiltrating the Proud Boys and stuff, organizations like that, but I haven't seen anything about Antifa. So if Antifa exists, maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't know. I'm open to that. I'm sure there are left-wing, you know, crazy people as much as there are right-wing crazy people. But I do know that Trump is stoking that fear, and it's just sad because it's changing how Americans are dealing with each other, and there's so much more hostility, you know, amongst some people. And a lot of it is online. But I feel like the more that this is allowed to fester, the more people are going to buy into this is, you know, who we are. And it's going to help shape people kind of believing that violence is the answer, which I don't believe. I believe in positivity. I believe in spreading love and caring about people. And I believe genuinely that most Americans feel the same way. But I'm making this video, one, to just, I guess, vent my own stress and frustration about what I'm seeing, but also just to encourage people to take a break from some of these negative images that we're seeing and focus on caring about people, about caring the people that you love, letting people know that you care about them, because life is not promised to anyone. I have been really made aware of that over these last few months, having people pass away. But I'm still here, and I want to enjoy my life. I don't want to be living in fear, and I refuse to live in fear. And I want to encourage people not to be afraid, because it is easy to become afraid when the president is talking about cities and people and just blatantly saying that Democrats are like, it's like we're the devil suddenly, and there's just something ugly that's happening in our discourse that needs to change. And hopefully I will not get a whole lot of crap from people in the comments about it, but if I do, I do. That's life. I need to be able to say, hey, we need to fight against this. And for me, fighting against that is spreading positive energy, spreading love, being kind to your neighbor, saying hello to your neighbor, having conversations, with people who are different from you so that they can see, that we all are a lot more similar than we are different, and standing up for what is right. And I know there's going to be a big march all across the country on October 18th, I think it's a Saturday. I'm going to do everything I can to be there and to document it as much as I can and share it on my channel. But I also feel the need to really focus on spending time away from all of this divisive stuff and focus on things that are positive and spreading things that are positive and spending time with my own emotions, writing them out, getting them down on paper, and just recognizing that there's more to life than anger and division. And we create the country that we're living in. America is supposed to be the best country, in the world that everyone looks up to. At least they were, until these last, few months. A lot, as it feels like it's been years. But I think it's up to us as people who care about our country to recognize that we need to take a stand and fight for the values that are important to us. And I don't mean physically fighting, because I don't believe in violence in that way, but standing up for what we believe in and expressing ourselves, peacefully protesting, and making sure that we counter this disinformation with the truth and document as much as you can what's going on. Because if we don't fight back from this, it's going to be really hard to recover from this president's term of office, because I don't believe this country is going to allow him to become a dictator, even though he's trying to do that brainwashing thing he does where he starts repeating things over and over again to kind of get people to think, oh yeah, maybe we do need a dictator to kind of help the police do their job. Give me a break. And this will be the last thing I say, and then I will move on. But the irony of this whole situation is that January 6th was the actual insurrection where people stormed the Capitol, and you saw them, going out with a guillotine to get the vice president and to get Nancy Pelosi and other politicians. And thank God they were not successful in that. But they actually did it. And Trump had an opportunity to send out the National Guard. and he didn't. And this man, who I believe was convicted of 34 counts of criminal activity, even though they were dissolved or whatever was done once he won, he was still convicted. And now he's acting like there's a crime wave going on in every Democratic city. It's manipulation. And we need to see it for what it is and stand up, against it. And just remember that we are Americans and that it's important that we spread positivity and not get sucked into this negative crap that is being pushed by this administration. So again, this is really not a political channel, but we are living in a time where I'm not a fan of politics in general, but I have to say when I see things that are wrong, when I feel like people's minds are being manipulated, and yes, you can see it in a lot of these videos, but just take some time, take a break from videos for a while and just live in your life. Journal, write about your feelings, connect with your friends, and then you can step back and really listen to what we're hearing on the news, and whether the news seems biased or not. We have to engage, because these are really crazy times we're living in, and people are intentionally trying to gaslight us. So if we don't at least try and be mindful of what's happening and question what people are saying. You can question anything I've said in this video. I'm not trying to push any kind of agenda other than me getting out this negativity that I'm seeing and talking about it so I can move on and feel like with a conscience say I'm not contributing to the destruction of our country because I'm allowing gaslighting to take place when I see it. So that's it. I just need to make this video for my own peace of mind. Hopefully you get something from it. I didn't want to, I haven't gotten to the place where I can insert different clips from things, but I also didn't want to promote any of these videos that are doing disinformation. But check out there when you look at your feed of what you're kind of pulling in. See how much of it may sound like it's AI driven, or where it's people talking with just still videos and not actually seeing the people that they're talking about having, arguments, actually having the argument, which is the video, which I'm sure they can do AI now, but just look at some of the videos that are out there that are stoking division and decide for yourself. All right. I know this was a long rant, and I hope you get something from it. My intention is just to help people remember that this is a great country, and even though we have differences, we don't have to be violent with each other. We don't have to hate each other. We can agree to disagree with things, and we can fight through arguments, through verbal disagreements on how we want this country to move forward. But we have to unite against manipulation and gaslighting. So I hope you guys get something from it. Talk to you guys soon. Besos.